This morning, I want to talk about love. I was listening to a man by the name of Dr. John D. Martini, and you've probably heard me speak about him before. And one of the things that he said was that the greatest force in the universe is actually love. Now, if you Google it, you will probably hear them talk about nuclear thingies and all of those kind of things. But actually, the force that actually makes the world turn is actually love, or the lack thereof. And I want to ask you, what does love mean to you? Because in my last 12 months journey in particular, I've realised that actually I don't have to like you to love you. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Because we've often thought of love as an amplification of our like. So if I like you and I like you a lot, then my next bit is going to be that I love you. But in the English language, it feels like we are limited because we use one word for love, where in things like the Greek, the Hebrew, in other languages, they have more than one word. So things like, do you know what, I love that dress, is not the same as I love my husband, but it's the same word that we use. Oops. So there is that we've got love for things. We've got a love for people. We've got a love for friends. We've got a love for children. We've got a love for food. We've got a love for a whole host of things. So actually, our lives are driven by our loves. But if we think about love in more of a universal kind of principle, as it were, and that we started to think that actually that there's a love of nature, there is a love of mankind. Because if I love mankind, then how I treat you is going to be different from if it is I'm saying, well, you know what? I don't like you as a person. Food for thought. So I went back to, one of the messages that are often read out at weddings is taken from the Bible. And I just want to read it to you and just kind of see for you where it is that love sits in your language and in your world and in your thinking. So the scripture says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Now, whether or not you are a believer or not, for me, that feels like a really great amplification or explanation of that word love. And I want to suggest to you that that love actually starts with loving yourself. Now, when I say this, I'm not talking about any selfish kind of love that actually says, oh, I'm putting myself before everybody else, that kind of love. I'm talking about a full kind of love. Because if you are full of love for yourself, you cannot help but share that love with everybody else. That when it is that you show up in a loving way. If you don't like the person, then actually that you stay away from them. You don't put yourself in confrontational situations, because do you know what? I love me, and therefore that's not healthy for me. That doesn't serve me. And actually, once it is that I am grounded in that, you are grounded in that, your interactions change. Because you are now coming from a place of that I want to share that love with other people. I want people to smile. I want people to laugh. I want people to be happy. I want people to be able to navigate their pain. I think one of the things in this season is that there is a greater outpouring of love than we have probably ever seen before. And these are even for people that you have never met. that you have never seen and you may never meet. But there is that love when it is that you hear another life has been lost, that somebody's been unable to attend a funeral, when somebody's in hospital, in pain, whatever it is that the circumstances are. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that feels a love for those people, and you just want them to be wrapped in the love so that they can find some peace, some comfort in that season. So I want to challenge you that to look at your definition for love, because love is actually a verb. It's not just a descriptor, it's actually a verb. And so therefore, what does that mean to you, and how are you showing up in the world? How are you spreading your love to everyone else? Do you know, there was a time where, and you're probably going to find this hard to believe, but there was a time where I actually thought that I was unlovable. I couldn't work out what the definition of love was. Well, actually, no, the definition of love was my mum, and she died. And therefore, that there was no one to love me. And I then felt unlovable. And then I thought, well, if I'm unlovable, maybe I don't love others either. And somebody pointed out to me, you know, when it was that you hugged that woman that wasn't feeling well or was upset or was crying, and you whispered in her ears, or you said a kind word, or you bought somebody something or sent them a card, wasn't that love? And I think that I had a really wrong, damaged definition of what love was all about. And when it was that something like that was pointed out to me, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do you know what? I actually love people. And I am always going to be looking, how do you find the good in people? And through my actions, I'm hoping, it might be my definition, you may disagree, but through my actions are really that whole demonstration of love. So it's that whole idea of you finding out what love means to you and actually operating in that. Because it is all about operating in your authentic truth. You know, so you know for me that I am a believer. I love God and I believe that he loves me. And so my definition of love has been expanded because of that. But if you're not a believer, that's okay. It's about you defining for yourself, what does love mean and what does it look like in my life, and how can I show up more effectively in that way? As you can see today, I've got on lipstick. I just thought I would. I think probably the reason I got lipstick on is because I've got a blue outfit and no red. So I had to find some red to add to things. Yeah, it's... Yes, this is the kind of stuff in my world. But hey, whatever it is you're doing today, have an absolutely great one. And I've lost... Oh, no. Oops. I'm back again. There you go. Yes, I forgot where I put it. So I'm sending you love from my heart to yours. Have an absolutely great day.